Something's wrong with my mom. I've always been close with my mom. She had always been the one there for me when nobody else was. She doesn't have a mean bone in her. We text and call each other every other day. And for a few days, she was expressing that she had been feeling a little under the weather. So I thought that I would surprise her by showing up randomly since we don't really live too far apart. This isn't unusual for me since she loves when I stop by just to chat and visit. She always gives me the biggest hugs when I walk through the door. As always, she asked if I was hungry and offered me to make something to eat, but I just had eaten, so I declined and told her I just wanted to hang out and talk, especially since she'd been feeling bad for a few days. I could tell she had a bit of a cough and some congestion, but otherwise she seemed her normal self. She was never the type to be able to sit still. As per usual, she was running around doing chores despite the coughing and making conversation with me. About an hour into our visit, she set the dishes down and she was washing and walked over to me to continue our conversation. I thought this was odd because why would she just drop whatever she was doing to walk over when we could hear each other just fine? I brushed it off because that's really no big deal. At this point, I'm sitting at the couch and she is standing in front of me. We continued to chat, just talking about life and family, everything else. I started to notice at this point she was looking more unwell as the conversation went on. Her gaze became more distant. She was looking at me, but it was more like she was looking through me. I'm a bit of a worrier and I tend to jump to the worst conclusion on a moment's notice, so I tried to just continue with our conversation, hoping that what I was saying was just in my mind or a trick of my imagination, just like I've experienced many times before. At this point, there's no doubt in my mind that something was wrong. Her arms began to just dangle beside her body, and she was blankly staring, not necessarily at me, but through me, and to something beyond. I really started to get worried and frantically kept on asking her what was wrong and if she was okay. She never responded, just the blank stare with her arms dangling and the glassy eyes affixed on something I had no presence of. I really tried at this point to keep my cool, but I was more worried by the second. I started to feel better because moments after she started making some movement, my relief quickly went away when I noticed her only movement was slowly scanning her head down my body and grinned very heavily. I tried to keep talking to her, but all she was doing was very psychotically scanning me with her head and smiling. The more she smiled, the more disordered her features became. At this point, she almost became angry, I guess. Her breathing got very intense and her demeanor was almost evil, unlike anything that was familiar to her. Her mouth let out a sound unlike anything I've heard before. The best I can describe it is a growl slash scream slash hiss slash spit and everything else in between. This wasn't my mother, at least not anymore. I got up as quickly as possible and I made a run to the closest place I thought I could be safe. I'm now currently stuck, locked in a bathroom, and I can hear her scratching the door. I see now why she was feeling under the weather. I am no longer a mama's boy.